Which aspects of her marriage to Tom Cruise did Nicole Kidman call incredibly traumatic? Why did Kidman say she still loves her first husband? And what major obstacle did Kidman and Keith Urban overcome together? Hi, I'm Joy, and you're watching OSSA. Let's get started. Just cruising. Nicole Kidman was just 22 when she met Tom Cruise when she auditioned for Days of Thunder at the end of 1989. Cruise's marriage to older actress Mimi Rogers was already ending, and he'd been impressed by Kidman's performance in her previous movie Dead Calm. One sighting of Cruise's killer smile was all it took for Kidman to fall, and who can blame her? She's often spoken of how she fell madly, passionately in love. "I remember being so nervous and seeing Tom Cruise drive up in a Porsche," she told Vanity Fair. Speaking of their first meeting, "He got out of the car and walked through the door and I was like, my jaw dropped." The actress regularly mentioned the electricity she felt with the actor and the way he swept her off her feet. Before Cruise, Australian Kidman had dated men who shared her background. She was linked to former Aussie teenage heartthrob Marcus Graham and Canadian-Australian actor and singer Tom Burlinson, who she acted with in Wind Rider. But with Cruise, she knew she'd found the one. The actress, who'd reportedly sworn off marriage, wed Cruise just a year after they met. As happens when you fall in love, my whole plan in terms of what I wanted for my life, I was like, forget it. This is it. I was consumed by it, willingly, she admitted. Together they became the biggest celebrity power couple of the 90s. Pregnancy devastation. Yet, behind closed doors, things weren't always easy. Soon after she and Cruise got married, Kidman had an ectopic pregnancy and lost her unborn child. Devastated, the two eventually moved on and ultimately adopted 2 children, a newborn baby girl they named Isabella, and 3 years later, a 4-month-old baby boy called Connor. "From the minute Tom and I were married, I wanted to have babies," she later told Marie Claire. "And we lost a baby early on, so that was really very traumatic. And that's when it came that we would adopt Bella. My mother had an adopted sister, so it's been part of our family, and I knew it would probably play out somewhere in mine. I didn't think it would happen so early, but it did." In 2001, shortly before the stars famously divorced, Kidman suffered a miscarriage. Kidman later called both pregnancy losses incredibly traumatic. "I know the yearning," she said. "That yearning, it's a huge, aching yearning. And the loss of a miscarriage is not talked about enough. That's massive grief to certain women." Eyes wide shut. After over a decade of love, loss, healing and joy, Kidman and Cruise shocked fans by separating in 2001. The two had recently filmed Stanley Kubrick's intense, erotic, psychological drama Eyes Wide Shut, which many claimed took a toll on their marriage. Yet, Kidman recently denied this in an interview with the New York Times, saying they were happily married throughout the filming process. Speaking of the way Kubrick made his stars immerse themselves in a fictional troubled marriage, Kidman denied that any part of that was weird. "This is where the fallacy is. We loved working with him. We shot that for 2 years. We had 2 kids and were living in a trailer on the lot primarily. We were working with the greatest filmmaker and learning about our lives and enjoying our lives on set. She and Cruise would apparently rent out a track and go go-kart racing at 3 a.m. after filming difficult scenes." While Kidman has spoken about her marriage to Cruise, there are things she won't reveal. "I want to honor that marriage for what it was, and there's nothing I would go into about that," she once said. "I've never discussed the intricacies of it, and I never will."
Actually, a waitress in a restaurant that I'd gone into, she came up just quietly, actually, when she was bringing the check, and she just said to me, "It's so good because you look happy, and I've seen you through, the last few years, and you haven't looked happy."
So, what really caused their split? Kidman was reportedly blindsided when Cruise filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Aside from the rumors surrounding Eyes Wide Shut, many also claimed that Cruise's love of Scientology also tore them apart. Kidman's late father was a psychologist, which is something the Church of Scientology is strictly against. The Church of Scientology reportedly wanted to break up the couple because Kidman wasn't a believer, and they wanted Cruise to further their mission. But there was more to the end of their marriage, Kidman suggested. She claimed that they were living in a bubble, and issues like fame, youth, and growing responsibilities all led to their divorce. "Our life together was perfect. It took me a very long time to heal," she said. "It was a shock to my system. That was a great relationship. I think it ran its course. I was really damaged and not sure whether love and marriage was ever going to happen again to me." New love, new life. Yet, Kidman did eventually find love again. From 2003 to 2004, she dated musician Lenny Kravitz. Funnily enough, over a decade later, she acted alongside his daughter Zoe in Big Little Lies. The two women have a warm relationship, and Lenny said he thought it was beautiful that they got to know each other as adults. Kidman went on to have short-lived romances with rapper Q-Tip and British pop star Robbie Williams. In 2005, she met country singer Keith Urban at Good Day LA, an event honouring Australians. Born in New Zealand, Urban grew up in Australia, and so the two bonded over their shared roots. He and Kidman returned to Australia when they married in a breathtaking clifftop church ceremony in Sydney in June 2006. At the wedding, Urban serenaded his new wife with his #1 single, Making Memories of Us. Talk about romantic. Over 14 years later, they're together and happier than ever. He just came along and protected me, she said. He's loved me, given me confidence, and made me so much more comfortable. He knows who I am, and he's opened me up. We have an interesting balance because I'm an introvert and he's an extrovert.
Incredibly fortunate to have met the person that I just love being with more than anyone in the world.
Yet, it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Urban is a recovered alcoholic and cocaine addict. Just months after he married Kidman, he suffered a relapse. "I deeply regret the hurt this has caused Nicole and the ones who love and support me," he said at the time. "One can never let one's guard down on recovery, and I'm afraid that I have." Yet, together the pair overcame his addiction, using something that could have torn them apart to come closer together. Urban told Oprah that Nicole's support helped him get through. To see love in action to that degree, at that time, in that way, I had never experienced anything like that, he said. At the age of 40, Kidman gave birth to the couple's first child, a daughter named Sunday Rose. In 2010, Kidman and Urban welcomed a second daughter, Faith Margaret, via gestational surrogacy. "I'm married to a really good man," Kidman said recently. "And the kids have a great father, and that's a very beautiful thing to be able to say." The two are obviously still very happy together, as was clear in their recent lockdown Instagram videos aimed at spreading joy during difficult times. In the videos, Urban performs while Kidman, his biggest fan, dances around to his music. "I'm happy to be your backup singer, your groupie," she tells her husband. "Whatever you need me to be." After her 2001 divorce from Cruise, Kidman's career also reached new heights as she gained confidence. While she said being married to a powerful Hollywood star protected her from things like sexual harassment, it also held her back. "I became famous very young. I became very famous because I was the wife of somebody. I felt I became a star only by association," she said. Yet in the years following her divorce, Kidman gained wide acclaim and even won a Best Actress Oscar for her role in The Hours in 2003. Today, she's one of the most powerful women in Hollywood, ruling film and TV and managing many projects through her production company Blossom Films. Kidman and her kids. Kidman and Urban's marriage was undoubtedly strengthened through their children. Giving birth to her first child after suffering 2 pregnancy losses was a miracle that Kidman didn't take for granted. The flip side of going through so much yearning and pain to get there is the feeling of, when you have the child, she once said. Speaking of her family with Urban and their simple, happy life, she told Hello, "I love being in the kitchen in the morning so that when my kids come down, there's noise and there's joy in the home. That's really important to me." Kidman's relationship with her now grown-up kids with Cruise has been the subject of much scrutiny. The two are both Scientologists, which has apparently caused a rift with their mother. They were reportedly estranged from Kidman for many years after the church declared her a suppressive person. Yet, the actress is very protective of her kids with Cruise, even though she doesn't echo their beliefs. "They are adults," she said. "They're able to make their own decisions. They've made choices to be Scientologists, and as a mother, it's my job to love them. So that's our job as a parent, to always offer unconditional love." In recent years, Connor and Isabella have reportedly grown closer to Kidman. As for her and Cruise, they also still have a lot of love for each other. In a 2005 interview, Cruise said he loved Kidman very much and just wished her happiness. A year later, Kidman reciprocated. "He was huge, still is." She told Ladies' Home Journal, "To me, he was just Tom, but to everybody else, he's huge. But he was lovely to me, and I loved him. I still love him. And there's a part of her that probably always will." But we're thrilled that Kidman has found lasting happiness with Urban. What do you think really caused Kidman and Cruise's divorce? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to stay awesome.